Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Munster Hunters, the only show that doesn't hunt monsters, but we do shun any new television show to talk about a 50-year-old sitcom about a Frankenstein monster and his grotesque family. I am Derek, and I'm a Munster Hunter. Joining me, as he has for every episode previously, is Keith. Keith, how you doing?
Hey, this is Keith, and I too am a Munster Hunter.
And next to Keith, as he did previously, is the Dr. Dre of Kansas. It is Terry. Terry, how you doing?
Howdy, howdy. It's me. I'm back.
Howdy, howdy. Is that the catchphrase? Is that your catchphrase?
I'm throwing them to the wall. I think last one was what, hello, but this time I'm going howdy. I'm gonna try.
Not just
I'm
howdy. You
trying
went
things.
howdy.
Yeah,
There's the two howdies
squared.
is what. Yeah, that makes it a catchphrase.
Oh, I see. I better be careful what I say from now on.
Also, he's sitting on the other side of me this time.
Oh yeah, he switched seats. He flopped around.
Yep.
To your right, my left.
And I am also a Munster Hunter, by the way. Yeah, I'll
Nice.
throw that out there.
Nice. Are you guys excited to get into episode 2, My Fair Munster?
I actually kind of am. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got the first episode, Munster Masquerade, it hit on just the quick notes that you're expecting in like a pilot episode.
Yeah.
And then this one should start to see the characters start to develop. You're going to get beyond the initial, here's our basics of we're a weird family and everything else is weird to us, but we don't notice all these things, that type of stuff. And now you get actual character development. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, Keith's looking forward to character development. I am too.
I mean, I've had 40 years to figure out this character development, 50 years to get the character development of these people, but now's the time for me to actually be excited about it.
All right. And before we get into anything, I am sad to say that this is not the episode where the babysitter sees Herman Munster naked and or have sex with the dog monster and or join in on that sex. This is not the episode any of those things happen.
No.
The babysitter has not been broken. The 20-year streak continues.
So time. If there's 70 episodes, so if you're playing along at home and you've guessed episode 2, you are now eliminated from
if you have
the running.
If you have the babysitter seeing Herman naked in the pool in episode 2, well, I don't know if Herman's in the pool, but I mean, I think she could see him naked anywhere, whether it be the pool, the bathroom, the porch. It doesn't matter.
I take back what I just said there. We didn't exactly explain the rules properly last episode, so I'll give everyone a mulligan. If you thought in episode 2 was where she was going to break, send us in. You can go ahead and reach out to us. Send in details. What episode do you think it is? There's 68 more episodes to go. You tell us the number, and then if it hits it, maybe you'll win a prize of some sort.
Now, should we say that you just say what episode the babysitter breaks in, or
yes,
the babysitter breaks by seeing nude Herman?
Now that's extra points though. If they get it exact.
Yeah. You need to predict what episode she breaks and what of our 3 predictions is it? Is it just seeing? Is it just seeing? Is it just seeing full frontal Herman? Is it Herman and Spot getting it on? Or is it she?
Is it which one is it? Which one's the closest?
And if you have a new theory that you think might happen, I mean, how could we be wrong? But you can throw that our way too, I guess.
Now, my only caveat to that is that you haven't watched these episodes like before, and you're just coming up with a theory. Don't tell me it's episode 50 and something happens, and it's It's because you just watched episode 50 like 2 weeks ago, because you watch the Munsters once a year. I mean,
yeah, no spoilers.
You know.
No spoilers.
Mhm.
And then now that I say that we've done it up top, we should probably wait to the end and be like, well, that was the episode that the babysitter did not break in. So
hey, look, we are learning just as everyone else
yeah,
is.
we're kicking the
That is
tires. We're
A
figuring
strong
it all
intro.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah,
Just jumping right in.
there's rules to this hunt, and we'll be figuring out as we go, apparently.
All right, so this is episode 2. I'm not sure any of the specifics. Oh, Keith, you have specifics about this episode, right?
Not specifics of this episode exactly, but we've been in our first episode, we kind of broke down the show in general, and we were gonna kind of talk about some of the characters as we went along, starting this week with Herman Munster. He was played by Fred Gwynn, and I mean, I've always known Fred Gwynn as Herman Munster. I think the only other few things that I would even relate him to, even though he's got 66 acting credits here, is he's in My Cousin Vinny, and then also Pet Sematary.
What is he in My Cousin Vinny?
He's the judge.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Did you say 2 Utes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he's in the original Pet Sematary as well. But yeah, he had so I mean, he's got 66 acting credits. His other big thing that he did prior to the Munsters was he was on Car 54, Where Are You? From 1961 to 1963. And Al Lewis, who plays Grandpa, was also on there as well. They were on that show together. And in reference to our last episode, he did show up on the Red Skeleton Hour.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh,
but he showed up as Herman Munster.
Oh, and not Captain America?
No.
What a treat.
And the Danny Kaye show, which I'm not sure what that is, but he showed up as Herman Munster on there. So it sounds like he would do the rounds a bit every now and then on shows as Herman Munster, which a couple other quick facts here. He was not the original person he wasn't the original person offered the role of Herman Munster. John Carradine, who was a horror and Western actor and the father of David Carradine, he was the original person offered. Fred Gwynn attended Harvard. He drew cartoons for and was president of the famous Harvard Lampoon. And it's later gone on, and he later on in life became an accomplished artist and wrote and illustrated several children's books.
Sure did.
That's cool.
The interesting thing, though, I was mentioning about his appearances on other things, apparently the suit was horrible for him. I guess it was fairly miserable, thanks to the various devices necessary to transform into the lovable Frankenstein monster. He wore asphalt pavers boots with 4-inch soles. His thighs, arms, and torsos were covered in 40 pounds of foam rubber padding.
Wow.
He contended with back pain daily, caused by the weight of the suit and inflexibility of the shoes. His head was fitted with foam latex piece to flatten the top of his head, and then he had to endure 2 hours in the makeup chair.
That's pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of very heavy and hot under the studio lights. He lost 10 pounds in 1 month, despite consuming gallons of lemonade in between takes. They eventually got a compressed air tank that would poke a nozzle inside the collar to help cool him off.
Wow.
One big benefit, though, is apparently he didn't have to do a lot of other personal appearances. The 2-year run, they were very popular and people wanted to see them a lot and promote the show a lot. And he did not have to do very much of that. And so he got to relax a lot on his days off. One of the rare times it says that he went out in public, him and Grandpa Lewis, they were in the 1964 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it says apparently in the interview with TV Guide, he was taking slugs from a bottle of whiskey the entire time. He had to get bombed so they could say hello to all the little kiddies for 40 blocks.
Oh,
yeah,
Jeez.
that sounds terrible.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, him and Al Lewis, they were on Car 54. Where Are You? Right before then, that went from 61 to 63, and then he jumped in on this right after that.
And it ruined his life.
I mean, again, it's the thing that I think he's probably most known for.
Contributed most to his death.
Contributed most to his death and most to his popularity in society. Those are usually tied together anyway. Whatever you're most popular for is also going to tie into your death. And, so that I think that's, that's a quick little Fred Gwynn intro.
I mean, how do you follow up the depressing lead of that? The man who had to get shit-faced to deal with children because the outfit that he was wearing was debilitating and crippling.
Sounds fun. Yeah.
But he still did it. That's how big his heart was. That's how, much he wanted to please the children. He did it, even though it was going to be painful.
Yeah. Poor guy. That means, Terry, if Keith's got those heartwarming and uplifting nuggets, that means Terry's got specifics about the show.
So yeah, this is episode 2, My Fair Munster. It was directed by David Alexander. He's done a lot of TV, and he actually directed the pilot of the Munsters, the unaired pilot.
Oh, we got to find that. I wonder if it's available somewhere. I'm going to look
on my DVD box set.
Oh,
dang it! There's the reason for buying that.
I got it for a reason. Well.
I think it might be on YouTube as well.
Oh, well.
That note was more for Derek than you. I wasn't trying to rain on your DVD parade there, Terry. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Everything I'm looking at right here says My Fair Munster is the unaired pilot.
Yeah, they did 2 versions of it.
Yep.
Oh.
I
will say that Lily is fine, but this Phoebe actress is looking. Al Lewis is still the same. Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I didn't want me to derail by looking at pictures.
You're good. I was curious, because this episode and that pilot had the same title. I was curious if they reshot or if they just decided to use it for their second episode instead. But he's also done some Star Trek, Get Smart, and a show called My Favorite Martian.
I
know My Favorite Martian.
I've never even heard of that.
It's about somebody that has a Martian, and it's their favorite one.
That makes sense.
The guy from Lost in Space was on that one. Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith,
yeah.
Anybody have a favorite Martian of theirs?
Yeah, Dr. Smith.
Oh,
Matt Damon.
Oh, that's a good pick. Yeah. I like that little alien from Looney Tunes, I guess.
Marvin. Yeah.
It was written, this episode, by Norm Lieben and Ed Haas. So Norm Lieben, he's done a ton of monster stuff. I think we talked about this guy last episode, maybe. I don't remember. But his credit was developed by, which I wasn't sure what that meant. Maybe he was one of those writers in the room just cranking out episodes, ideas, and stuff. And then Ed Haas actually has some very similar. He developed by as well with the Munsters. And then he's done just a bunch of TV. Get Smart's on here. Jerry Lewis Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. He did some stuff for that as well.
I love the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Never seen an episode.
It's one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. Man, oh man, Mary Tyler Moore. I love all of it.
Is it just like a sitcom, classic sitcom kind of thing?
Classic sitcom. But Dick Van Dyke writes for like a TV show, like a Tonight Show. This pre-Tonight Show, so it'd have been like the Soupy Sales Show. I don't know who fucking wrote for, but he was like the head writer for a TV show in the show, and then he came home to his wife Mary Tyler Moore and fell over an ottoman, and it was just a very funny show.
Okay, that
sounds cool.
Happened every episode.
Well, every intro, right?
Yeah.
And then the guest star for this, I actually recognize this person, John Fielder, as the mailman.
I recognize him too, but I didn't know what he was from.
He's the voice of Piglet.
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh. Like that voice, I just knew I recognized it. And he was also in 12 Angry Men, which is probably, I don't know. Piglet's important too, but 12 Angry Men is a really good movie as well. He's really good in that movie as well. His voice is very unique. But he's worked for a long time. He's got 202 acting credits listed, going from 1955 to 2005.
Well,
a lot of that
Piglet movie.
Right? Yeah, a lot of that's Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, but he's done like Tales from the Dark Side, Emperor's New Groove, True Grit. Bewitched. He's done some other stuff too, but Winnie the Pooh, I think, is his claim to fame with Piglet.
I'm gonna tell you what, if you can get a gig like that where you're just the voice of a beloved character for 50 years, you got to roll with it, right? You can't look that gift horse in the mouth, right? You got to just be like, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, like something like Scooby-Doo, where like those actors were doing it for years. I think they might have actually.
They still do. I think the guy that does Fred still does Fred.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then, I mean, hey, if it's, I would totally be in on. Yes, I'm not going to get tired of this ever. I'll just do this forever.
Well, I guarantee if Casey Kasem were still alive, he'd still do Shaggy.
Yeah, I wonder if you just like at that point in time, you just get like one check a year that's like, here's your Piglet money for the year, just. Whatever Piglet related activities we have for you.
Here's your Piglet cash. Nice.
Yeah. Like we pay you, like if you're doing it for that long, like at one point it was like a normal paying gig, but after a while you're like on retainer or something like that. Like, here's
Piglet
your
retainer.
Yeah, here's just your money. And we're gonna call you when we need you to voice Piglet, okay? And you're gonna answer the phone, you're gonna come down where we need you. But here you go.
If you need me to do Piglet, there better be another 0 on the end of that number. Well, I'm excited now that I know that this is Piglet. It really puts a new spin on this. And so this is My Fair Lady or My Fair Munster. Now, when I saw the title, I immediately thought My Fair Lady, which is a very common trope, right? Where it's like, we'll get to it. So this one opens up on a stormy night and a car pulls up and Marilyn is returning home on another date, right?
Yeah.
But this is not Tom. This is, I think, Jack, right? Yep. So Jack and Marilyn pulls up and Marilyn is like, you want to come in? Which to me is like very forward. He's like, well, I'll walk you to the door.
Okay. He's scared.
Fine.
Well, he's doing because he thinks that she's like going to be in some danger or something. And she's just like, let's go. Come on. This is where I live.
Like she's looking to like get it on with Jack. And he's just like, I don't know. This place is spooky. But he walks her up to the door. She doesn't have her keys. She forgot her keys. And so she has to ring the bell or knock on the door, right? And it's like, and then you hear and here comes Herman, who like he's on his way. He opens up the door and Herman makes his way up, opens the door. Jack sees him and runs off in comedic sped up film style. Right?
Climbs over the wall.
There's a gate right there. He's like, nope, no time for gates, Dr. Jones. He climbs up over the wall, up over the top that says the Munsters or whatever, and hits the road. And Marilyn wants to know what's the matter with her.
Also, by the way, when Herman answers, he looks a little bit out of it, and like he's just staring straight ahead, and then he has to look down, and he's like, "Oh, hello, Marilyn."
Yep.
It's like I think it's like a homage to like the old Frankenstein movie. Like his entrance is very similar. He like walks out, his eyes are like rolled in the back of his head. I kind of like that. That was pretty fun.
He was creepy. Asleep, and then he walked out to the door because he heard somebody knock, and then
he got woken up.
Hello, Marilyn.
As was established, he's not very smart. So
is that his resting face?
Yep. He's like, who's at the door? And he's like, oh, there you are, Marilyn. And then Jack's like, I'm gonna GTFO, and he just runs in that sped up film style. And then Marilyn's like, what's wrong with me? And then we get the Munster theme song that still slaps, still as good as it was. Nothing's changed. Herman comes out the stairs. Herman's going to work. He gets to kiss with.
He has he gets a little kiss on the cheek, turns, and then gives the weirdest grin as he's walking out.
And he kind of like shakes his head a little bit, and he's like,
I think he's like just so proud of himself. He got like a kiss or something.
I was like, did I miss it? Did like Lily grab his butt or something on the way out? Because he like turns and like all of a sudden just like, whoa.
He's just like, fucking, hey, that's my wife, man.
Yeah.
He's got some zest in his step. Yeah.
Yep.
He's excited to
go to
work.
Come home. So then we come back after the introduction, right? The titles. And this is possibly the most boring 2 minutes of this show. Grandpa's playing checkers with a ghost. there's like a bowl of rocks that's doing something next to him.
I thought that was maybe
bugs.
cockroaches.
I don't know what it was. It was just like it was whatever it was intended to look like someone invisible was reaching in to it, but it just looked like things were spinning.
Yeah.
I think that's why why I thought it was bugs was because it never stopped moving.
Yeah, I thought they were crawling around in there.
But then like they go over and like Herman's just staying in there. And they go back to Grandpa, and he's like, "I got you now." He's playing checkers, like and then the invisible person like triple jumps him for a king. So now that proves that Grandpa's an idiot too.
Yeah.
So Herman and Grandpa, dumb as hell. And then so that takes like 45 seconds to a minute 20, way too long. I'm just like, oh, and it's trying to like establish that they're weird, right?
Yep.
But all they had to do was go to the weirdest thing, and the whole thing is Eddie sitting in the fireplace. He's just chilling in the fireplace. There's a fire going. He's sitting there.
Why are you sitting there?
He's reading a book. He likes being cozy or something like that. I can't remember what
I think he says, I'm having fun, or I'm having a good time.
I'm having a good time. Yeah. And
to which Herman says, "Don't talk fresh to your mother."
Yeah. It's just like get out of the fireplace. Oh, but I'm having fun. Don't talk fresh to your mother. And then he's like, "You're always," it says something like about it. You're always giving me a hard time because, like, kid, you don't talk like that to Marilyn. And there's like, just get off.
Marilyn's a college student, student, or like maybe just post college. Like I didn't know, they haven't established what she does. I don't know if maybe she was maybe like a nursing student or something, because she seems like maybe she is in college, but maybe not. But he's like a grade school kid.
Yeah.
Like there's obviously different rules. Whether you're a werewolf and she's normal human, there are rules going on here, dude. Like you're a kid. Get out of there.
And he's clearly a kid because he goes to school, and we'll see that later on. Right. Yeah. So it's not like he's just like 100-year-old wolf man that just is in the form of a boy, because werewolves don't age. Nope. He's just a boy. That's a wolf. Right.
And don't forget the open flame isn't what they're worried about. It's the draft from the chimney.
Yeah, it's a draft. Because there's a draft in the chimney. But he's mad he has to go to bed because it's still dark outside. Okay, but the kid goes to school though, so I don't understand what this family does. They're really starting to irritate me a little bit. This opening scene, I did not like this opening scene. It was just
this is episode 2. Derek's already annoyed by these people.
All right, so anyway, it's like he was talking about. So he runs off, and is that the last we see of Eddie? It might be. I can't remember.
Except for
he comes up again.
Okay, and then Marilyn comes in, and she's upset because her date just got over. And she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to bed." And Marilyn, or not Marilyn, Lily was going to ask her about her date, and Herman's like, "Whoa, don't say anything about it." And then that upsets Marilyn a little bit, and she just goes off to bed, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lily says something. Herman says something to the point of like, what are we doing? We have to get her out of the house. Right? She's got to get out of the house and get married. Like they're tired of supporting Marilyn.
He also says that her looks come from Lily's side. That's her niece. That's your sister's child. And makes those type of comments to which Lily's like,
look like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's very much like. I think they say like we don't want her to be an old maid, being here forever.
Yeah,
like
because he tells Lily, you got to do something, and Lily's like, "Why do I have to do something?" It's like, you think it's so hard? I have to clean 9 rooms in a dungeon every day. Now Herman reveals something very interesting here. Mm-hmm. He says that he has to go out and scare up rent every day.
Yeah. They're renting that house.
Daily.
Is that what we're
There's a daily renewal on their lease, apparently.
Oh, no, I thought it meant because he goes to a day job every day that he has to go out every day and scare up the rent. Not that he has to pay rent daily on the place.
Well, okay. Unless the rent on the house is what his paycheck is. There comes a point where his daily job no longer pays for rent. It pays for other things too, right?
Yeah.
It's only... So either he's scaring up rent on a daily basis, but they're renting. right? They're renting a haunted house.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was like. That's so weird that they're renting that weird house, especially because, like, as we'll find out when we meet the neighbor a little bit later, like it doesn't sound like
the people there before were a problem.
Yeah, the people there before weren't a problem. The house wasn't weird before. Yeah. It's just since the Munsters have gotten there. But they're renting this place.
They're renting the place.
I kind of thought maybe like he was like a tough and he was going out and like getting the rent from everybody.
He's strong-arming people out of money.
The rent collector. I don't know.
I mean, I'm assuming at some point in time we find out what he actually does when he goes out every day. But as of right now, that could be it. It's either that or showing off his full frontalness to people.
Maybe.
But he would be scaring up the rent. Yeah.
Herman Munster's OnlyFans account back in the day. That's how he's scaring up the rent for everybody.
Yeah. So he's scaring up rent. She's cleaning 9 rooms in a dungeon, but we've seen the house. It's covered in filth. So maybe she's got like a reverse vacuum cleaner that just blows crap all over the place. I don't know.
And also, so far, there's only 5 people that live there.
5 people. We've seen a room.
Yes.
Okay. So we do that. And then they're worried Marilyn's going to end up an old maid. And Grandpa's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll dig up someone for her. And like, I think that's the whole, no, I'll dig someone up because he's going to.
In the old country, when we needed a man, I would dig up some. Dig up
said
somebody.
Something like that, right?
What does that mean exactly?
I just dig up a corpse, make another Herman, I guess.
Well, okay, yeah. So now is he responsible for like
Herman?
Yeah, did he make Herman? And then did he make Herman for Lily?
That's my guess. That's canon right now. So then he goes to his dungeon. He opens up the door, and a bunch of smoke pours out, right? And didn't they say something like he said he was gonna get a fan down there?
Yeah,
and that was the big joke. I guess.
You think they would like it? Yeah, this seems like a bad thing that they would be into.
Exactly. Like you'd think they'd want to cough from smoke because they're the Munsters.
They'd be like, you need more smoke down there, something like that. Yeah.
So he goes in the basement, and this is the first time we meet Igor the Bat. He's flying around Grandpa. And he's like, oh, no, not right now, Igor.
Oh.
And now I've enjoyed this. He goes up to this big book of spells, and he's like, poison apple, poison bananas, poison enchiladas, poison TV dinner. He's going down. He's like, wait a minute, I don't want poisons. I said potions. Now, did either of you look at the page?
Yes.
It was just had like scribbles on it and like big drawings.
Really?
Like a very poor version of hieroglyphics.
Yes. It was like, oh, there's a fish. Okay. And then there's I don't even know, a Christmas tree, maybe. I mean, it was
spiral,
like
a spiral circle, squiggly lines of this. But it's also cool. He has a book that will go to the pages that he needs.
Yep. He's like,
and I don't remember seeing him ask it to go to potions originally, and it went to poisons. He just walks up and it's there.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, don't you understand English? I said potions.
But I like the poison apple, poison banana, poison enchilada. And then poison TV dinner. That made me laugh. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So there's lots of scribbles, and it goes to potions, and he goes, no, love potions. And so it goes there, and he reads this one. I only wrote down the first part of it.
I got the whole thing.
To win the love of man or maid, quaff, because there's quaff. Couldn't figure out what that one was. Quaff this potion unafraid. And then the next line, Keith.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have the recipe. I'm sorry.
Oh, and the next one is like the next instruction was like to shake well before use.
Yeah.
Which kind of made me laugh. Okay, so because I know there's a touch of Frank Sinatra in there.
All right. Yep. I rewound this one to get us all down. 1 cup powdered whale heart. 1 teaspoon of nightingale tongues.
Yep.
A pinch of hexacorum.
Okay, which was like looked like Preparation H or something.
Yeah, something like that. A touch of Frank Sinatra. A secret ingredient: a woman's tears.
A woman's tears. And I thought that was going to have meaning later on.
Yeah,
but
it's very dramatic. Like they like zoom in on his eyes as he's like putting it in.
Made a big point that it was woman's tears, and like We're going to find out it was Lily's tears or,
Yeah, what woman's tears? Which one of his 167 wives' tears was this?
Yep.
Maybe it's like Marilyn's tears from being sad about like her boyfriends and stuff.
Nobody's tears. Nobody's specific tears. But they made a big deal out of it. Or we're going to find out that maybe it was a woman's tears that got replaced with the man's tears and stuff like that messed up,
Somebody's been cutting the tears. That's what
it's been cutting the tears. Like from the last episode, we found out that people are pinching stuff out of Grandpa's stash and replacing it with baking powder.
Yeah.
So he puts that in a blender, literally.
I didn't like that. With all this hubbub, and then he just throws it in the blender and turns it on.
I stopped and paused it to look to see if there was like if there was like a good enough view of it that like would say like a brand name, because I was like, I guess they could do some like product placement a bit at times even back then. I was like, is there like specifically like some sort of actual blender that they were like pushing at this time? Like
Blend Co.
Yeah.
So he puts it in the blender and then he's like, I gotta get Marilyn to drink this potion. If it's half as good as the batch he made for Elizabeth Taylor, whoa.
Which I love, the second episode in a row. So last time he's made reference to the guy that he helped win an Oscar, and now he's making another pop culture reference about Elizabeth Taylor.
Frank Sinatra and Elizabeth Taylor. And Elizabeth Taylor famously had like several husbands, right? Like probably 10 by the time this episode aired. So now he's got this potion. We cut to the mailman at the neighbor, getting friendly with the neighbor, and they're doing nothing but talking bad about the Munsters.
Yeah.
It's like, they're awful, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I got to deliver a package. He's like, look what I got. And he pulls out this like a little bindle around his neck full of garlic. But what I thought was funny is like, he holds it up and she's like, whoa, what's that? She smells it. And it's like, you don't know what garlic is?
Yeah.
Well, garlic that's been in a little bag, and then inside his shirt and jacket the whole day while he's delivering the mail.
I'm going to tell you what, garlic is garlic. It doesn't it's going to smell like garlic no matter what, man.
But he has it to keep away evil. And I'm sure it's keeping away more than just evil at this point.
She seemed really repulsed.
And they're gossiping.
Well, she seemed evil to me.
She said something like this: Herman has a body you'd expect to fall out of a closet. Which I wasn't 100% sure what that meant.
I don't know either. I found it funny, but I did not understand what it meant either.
Anyway, she does not like the Munsters at all. Ever since they moved in, it's all gone downhill. So I don't know what that house was like before the Munsters moved in.
That's what I really want to know.
What if it was an empty lot and then they put the house there?
They built it, on the property. Maybe
it just next morning it was there. It's magical.
Oh,
they're renting from Satan.
Satan put it there.
Oh man,
there you go. That's canon now.
I'm gonna tell you what. If Rob Zombie's listening, time to rewrite. There it is. Or be in there. So the neighbor's putting in an electric fence to keep the Munsters from maybe wandering over into her backyard.
Yeah.
Which later on we'll see shouldn't be much of an issue, but that's what it is. The mailman's like, man, I gotta deliver, and I'm gonna be friendly with you. Smell my garlic. And she's like, well, here's my electric fence. We go back. Lily is making breakfast for the Munster clan, and she is making oatmeal. Nothing peculiar, nothing weird, no eye of newt, no anything, just oatmeal.
Yeah, and a big cauldron. I guess
big cauldron of it. Yeah, lots of oatmeal for only 5 people. But Herman must have an appetite, and that's understandable. He's a big Frankenstein.
He's like 5 men,
Yeah, and Grandpa's like, what is he wants to eat like the old days. I didn't understand what that meant, unless he meant like people.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah.
He did want some fresh blood in the family, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So he asks which one's Marilyn's, and he puts the potion and stirs into Marilyn's oatmeal. Devious. He knows Marilyn's going to come down, eat this oatmeal, and then everyone will be in love with her. Makes sense. Yep.
And then he quick does a disappearing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out. And he disappears into like a big poof of smoke, which really says, you shouldn't smoke before breakfast.
Which is weird. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you're going to smoke whenever, I guess. Like, what difference does it make if you delineate before breakfast or not? Weird. Yeah. So Marilyn comes running down. She's late. She's like, oh, I'm just going to grab some coffee at at like the student center or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So she's a student of some variety.
Yep.
She's like, I'm just gonna get some coffee, no oatmeal for me. And Marilyn's like, well, it's getting cold, so let me put it all back into the pot to warm it up. So she grabs Marilyn's potioned up oatmeal, puts it in there, stirs it back up, and then here comes Herman and Eddie, and she dishes out some fresh oatmeal from them. I don't understand. That's a really there's like 50 gallons of oatmeal right there.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah,
well,
but dude, cold oatmeal's nasty. I mean,
yeah, but just toss it. Why do you have to put it back in, stir it around, and then re-dish out 3 bowls?
Yeah. Didn't they share dish out the other bowls? Like, didn't
Yeah.
everybody have their own bowl already?
Herman's only out there scaring up rent. I mean, they got to keep a budget for their
I guess
their
so.
groceries.
Well, then my suggestion is don't make all the oatmeal at once. So anyway,
Oh, okay. So now the second time we do see Eddie now,
mm-hmm.
is that a dumbwaiter he's coming out of, or just like a cabinet?
He just opens up the cabinet and he's there.
Yeah.
Maybe he lives in the cabinet.
He
I didn't
sleeps
see
there?
it like a dumb.
I don't know. Because I was like, at first I was gonna be like, is he just coming out of the cabinet? But I was like, that sounds dumb. It's gotta be a dumb waiter.
No, maybe.
And then I was like, I didn't see anything that looked like that. Just like normal doors, and boop, out he pops out.
Cabinet, yeah.
Yeah, and he's ready to sit down and eat.
So Lily dishes up some oatmeal for everybody, and then Herman thinks that Marilyn's problems might be partially their problem, because ever since they moved in, they really haven't talked to the neighbors. They must think that they're snobs. We need to be friendlier to the people around us.
Sure.
I like the fact though that at that point when he first starts to say is setting up the, hey, we're monsters. Maybe it's our fault and not hers. But then he just leans into, wow, we just haven't been in that social lately.
Yeah, we just gotta be friendlier.
Yeah.
That's all. Nicer to the people around us, nicer to the neighbor, blah, blah, blah. And then Herman and Lily look at each other and there's music.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The classic love theme. That
They're
was
all googly eyed
awesome.
at one another. And she's like, oh, you're lovely. And no, you're lovely. And then Eddie's like, isn't something to say how I'm lovely? They look at him. And it was a very Bart Simpson-y moment. It was like, shut up, boy. Like, they didn't say that, but they wanted to.
Yeah.
That did crack me up. Poor Eddie.
Yeah.
Nobody complimented
But they're
him
all
at
eating this tainted oatmeal now.
Yeah.
And now you know craziness is going to happen here. Apparently, this is all happening in real time because now the mailman is coming over from the neighbors. And I thought this was funny. Like the closer he gets to the Munsters' house, the windier it gets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is sunny out when he is in the Miss Cribben's yard and stuff. It is sunny out. It's a nice day.
Yeah.
And she's getting that fence put in. As soon as he walks past that fence,
Yep.
it gets dark.
That's
it
what I'm
starts
saying.
to rain.
They're
it
redding
starts-
from Satan.
It's like a tumbleweed blowing by.
Yeah.
Which then reminds me in the first episode when they're like, oh, it's not raining. Or like he's talking about Eddie refers to the lightning and hope it hits the house. Like, is all that just at their place? Like maybe it never rained and ruined the other party they were at.
It's only raining there. So he's walking up. He rings the doorbell. Lily says she's going to go get it. Herman's like, oh, I'm going to go out back and water the weeds.
Yes. Hey, also, I think that Derek, this is why, like in the last episode and this one, there's a lot of back and forth, is because a lot of it is supposed to be real time.
Oh, it's
I
all
think
real
is
time.
Yeah, like they're jumping back and forth, and everything is just happening. Like that's how they're just showing you everything happening at the same time. They just go with a lot of cuts in this show.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we get the mailman. He's delivered to Lily, and he's just like, "What?" And then he falls in love with Lily, and then she says something. Can I ask you a question? He goes, "Can I ask you a question? Do you believe in love at first sight?" And she's like, "What?" And then we cut to Herman. He's in the back, and he's watering the weeds as promised. And this is why you don't need electric fence. There's just a bunch of shit back there. Like, you're not getting from one yard to the next. There's just weeds and brush and trash. He's watering the weeds, and he sees the fence, and there's like people putting in the fence, and Miss Cribben's the neighbor's back there. And then Herman's like, "Oh, can I help?" And she's turns and she's gonna give him peace for mind. And love potion.
That music kicks in again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then So then we cut back to the mailman, and he is like aggressive.
Oh,
like he's all over Lily, and he's like, call me Tiger.
Call me Tiger. Yeah.
Well, first of all, it was Call Me Walter, which was his name. And then like 2 seconds later, it was Call Me Tiger. Yes.
Tiger. Yeah. Call me Tiger. And then we cut back, and the neighbor lady is all up on Herman. And Yolanda, my friends call me Yo-Yo.
Okay. There is no way her name is Yolanda or Yo-Yo.
But before she said that, she said, my friends call me, I said Yo-Yo. Then in my mind, I called it? Call you? Yep. And I called the Yo-Yo, and she's like, my friends call me Yo-Yo. I was like, yes. And then we cut, and here's Eddie. He's running, and he's getting chased by a bunch of like school-age girls, and they're screaming like crazy.
Yes.
Running down the street, getting back to the house. So then they cut back, and like Herman and Lily are trying to make heads or tails of it. Liz like, I had too much perfume, and Herman's like, I came on too strong. That Munster charm. Yep. They don't make them like you anymore. They don't make men like you anymore. Lily says to Herman.
Yeah.
And then Herman looks in the mirror, and guess what? It breaks.
It does break.
Herman breaks another mirror by looking into it. That's 2 for 2. 2 episodes. 2 mirrors broken by Herman looking into them.
You'd think they just wouldn't have mirrors at this point. Well, I guess the first episode wasn't his house, was it? So.
Yeah, just get rid of the mirrors.
Yeah.
Then Herman and Lily and Grandpa, they hear some racket out front, and it's the mailman, and he's serenading Lily. And it was, I wish I would have wrote the lyrics, because it was a song specifically about him, and what to call him.
His singing was so funny. It was so bad.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Something like, do you think it's the whispers of the trees? No, it's just me, Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger, yeah. And Grandpa wants to throw a potted plant at him, and Lily's like, no. So Lily says she's going to go fix that, and Herman says, I'm going to go fix the neighbor. And Lily's like, she's been calling every 10 minutes. And then Grandpa does throw the flower at him, which was funny.
I did like that.
So Herman goes out the door, but Miss Cribbins is waiting there. It's Yo-Yo and the mailman. And now this is when it gets a little bit much for me. There's what felt like a 25-minute chase scene between Yo-Yo, the mailman, Herman, and Lily. And it's a Scooby-Doo style chase.
Very much so.
They're going in and out of doors. There's some spinning thing. Boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trap doors in this house.
Went on for a long time. Herman goes in a cabinet. Yo-Yo goes in the cabinet. Yo-Yo comes out of the cabinet. It's like, I don't know where Herman went. She runs away. And then Herman comes out of the cabinet. And you're like, okay. So a lot of that for a long time.
It did go for a while, yeah.
And then Tiger and Herman are in the spinning, spinning thing, and
for like 10 revolutions, it just kept showing him spinning and spinning and spinning.
Then the suit of armor that he wore in the first episode shows up in the thing for a little bit, and but it's very like live action Scooby-Doo esque of them like running into different doors and popping out.
Monkeys, Scooby-Doo, the Beatles, like the Help movie did that too. It's just like whatever. Lots of that happening. Then there's while this is all going on, Grandpa's on a marble slab, laying on his back, reading a book floating above his head, and the doorbell's buzzing or whatever. And he's like, somebody to get that? All right, I'll get it. And Grandpa's pissed. He's like, am I the only person that lives here, sort of thing? Like, goes to get the front door. And it's Marilyn because she forgot her keys. This is the first time we've seen something that was been mentioned early get used again because she forgot her keys early on, right?
Yep.
So she forgot her keys again, and Grandpa had to let her in. And Grandpa asked how her date was. She's like, it was really good. He wants to see me again. And Grandpa thinks it's because I, put shit in your oatmeal. And she's like, well, I didn't even eat oatmeal today. All right. Like I was running late. He's just like, oh, well, that's weird. I'll just make you more. And she's like, well, there's another kind of magic too.
Yeah.
And Grandpa's like, well, bullshit.
Yeah.
Marilyn leans into the fact of like just her and her, good looks and everything are magic enough.
Nah.
And he's like, we'll still help you. Don't worry.
Fuck you, little girl. I'll make you a potion.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, she's not upset that Grandpa was trying to drug her either. That's
nope. It's like, oh, you're just trying to help your old Grandpa Munster.
I'll be honest. 2 episodes in, I'm really worried about Marilyn. She is really not connecting with the psychological trauma going on to her at this point in time. Of what's wrong with me? Oh, Grandpa tried drugging me. It was no big deal. Grandpa, there's other kinds of magic.
Too many things are normalized for Marilyn.
I
don't like. So anyway, Grandpa's like, oh, then who else? Who had the potion? And then he just notices there's a ruckus going on. And then he has to say, well, it should be wearing off any minute to give, what happens next, a grounding. And then guess what? It wears off.
And he's like, I'm going to go to my room now.
Yeah. He just runs away and hides again.
Peace out. This is too much fun. I don't want to be part of it. So then you see Yo-Yo and Tiger, and they're all like, Yo-Yo, call me Yo-Yo, call me Tiger. And Tiger is real aggressive, Lily, like kissing her arm and stuff. And she's trying to pull away. And then all of a sudden, there's the reverse of love music plays. It's like, and now they're no longer in love. And in fact, they're so opposite, they just the mailman dives out the window.
Yeah.
Well, okay. He stops, looks at her, and starts to whistle a bit, slowly walking away. And then when he gets to the window, then he does that hard dive out.
He dives out. How did Yo-Yo do anything weird?
Well, she's like, Herman's laying on the ground, kind of leaned up, and she's holding him, trying to get at him. And she basically just lets him go. Which you see his whole hair kind of flap up a little bit on the back.
Yes, you do.
It wasn't fully connected there. It looked like, but that's all. And then she quickly storms out.
Yeah, but she didn't dive out the window or
no, she didn't
dig
do
a
that.
tunnel or something like that. Or
no, but I thought it was the whistling where he was just when he came to, he was just
he's gonna casually leave.
Yep, casually leave out the front door. Nope, first place he sees the window. Boom.
I get the Herman, the way you're scared of him. He looks like Frankenstein's monster. I'm not so sure I would be super horrified. Lily looks like a normal human being.
Yeah, which is crazy makeup.
Yeah.
So mailman dives out the window, and then does Lily or Herman say this? I can't remember. She says, well, dear, think we let them down easily enough? Because then Herman goes crazy. He's just like, he's pounded on the floor. It's the funniest thing. Oh man, my day is complete.
Yeah. She comes over and sits on his hip too. Yeah. Not even like a chair. She just comes and sits down on him.
Yeah.
And his stomps and everything are the whole house is made of metal.
Yep.
I mean, I get he's supposed to be big and strong, but it makes it seem like the whole house is made of metal. Anytime somebody hits something.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
God damn it, he did. Yeah. He's just like, boy, this is great. What an adventure we've had.
Is this the first time we've seen him laugh?
Yes, like that, doing that.
The first big laugh that I think he becomes known for as time goes on.
Okay. Yeah. It's a thing he's going to keep doing.
Stomp and the laugh and everything is shaking.
Now, the thing we don't see is we don't ever see Eddie when things wear off. Does he have is he surrounded by the 6 chicks who chased him home earlier, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah, we don't see them anymore.
Once again, Eddie's shoved under the rug. Who cares? We don't need to deal with him too much.
Yeah.
And then we come back for the button of the episode, and then they're like, Grandpa, did you get rid of the rest of that love potion? He's like, yeah, I threw it over the fence right into the Miss Cribben's garden. I think it landed on the cabbage. And it's like, all right, that's cool. And then he cut to Cribben's. She's got the mailman over. And, and he's like, oh, thank you so much. I don't do this often. It's not often a mailman gets a home-cooked meal. I'm just like, oh, poor mailman. I bet you other mailmen get home-cooked meals.
Yeah. I think he's like a bachelor, and that's why he doesn't get them.
And he's just like, oh, what are you making? It smells good. And then it's cabbage. And she's like, oh, it's the home-cooked meal, corned beef and cabbage. And the cabbage came straight from the garden.
Here, come take a big whiff.
Yeah, come take a big smell of my cabbage, which is such a weird statement.
That seems like an innuendo. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess the potion, all you have to do is smell it, because then the two are like, they're gonna get it on next to the corned beef.
You think they're in love with the cabbage?
That's why we never cut back, because it's American Pie, but with cabbage.
It's about to get a little crazy in this kitchen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if the babysitter would have walked in on that would have broke her.
Yeah, it would have broke her. 20 years, I've never seen somebody fuck cabbage before. All right, but then we come back to the Munsters, and like they knew what happened. Herman goes, "Well, I guess it takes all kind of people to make up the world."
Yeah,
and then he laughs, and then
they easily just peep into the neighbor's house.
Like they knew what was going on. Hey, they're gonna fuck some cabbage. Takes all types. Ha 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 ha. Credits.
I gotta say, I didn't. Before we get too far away from it, when Grandpa says, "Oh, I got rid of it," and goes, and he does like that suspicious laugh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That cracked me up.
Yeah, it did.
And Herman calls him out on it. Even I was like, that is pretty funny. Grandpa, once again, is probably my favorite.
He is easily by far the most entertaining portion of the show.
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid liking Herman quite a bit. So, man, we'll see. But Grandpa, yeah. I mean, this episode was better than the first episode for sure.
Yes. Yes, I agree 100%.
Between his whole thing in the first one where he's in his lab and he's, taking the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde potion and nothing happens. And then this scene when he's there and he's mixing up the love potion and all this stuff, seeing the book and like everything that, the touch of or a touch of Frank Sinatra, etc., are like both times he really kind of steals the entire episode in a scene.
But all in all, better than the first one. And would I come back and watch episode 3? Yeah, there's no other options.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Yeah. This one's a lot better. I think they just kind of they got the vibe a little bit more nailed this time. It wasn't as like maybe hilarious as I wanted, but it was more hilarious than last time. So that's nice.
Yeah. On the hilarious scale, it's still like a 1 or a 2. But there were some funnier moments, I guess. Well, for those scoring at home, that was episode 2, My Fair Munster. Not a parody of My Fair Lady at all.
Nope. Just a fun title to throw out there.
I really thought it would be. I thought it would be like Marilyn is having trouble, so Lily and Herman decide to make her look more Munstery, is what I thought was going to happen in that episode.
That'd be great. That was a great idea. I bet you that comes up. That's got to be an idea they came up with later, right?
It's gotta. Yeah. It's like, well, you're just not Munstery enough. Let's Munster you up.
Like a reverse She's All That.
Yeah. That's all I thought. I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't.
Yep.
So
no, she kind of disappears for most of the episode. Yeah, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Not a big role this time.
She's just she's the bookend, and she's at the front. I don't have my keys.
Yeah.
And
here's my crazy uncle, and then I don't have my keys. There's other kinds of magic.
Now I'm interested. Now I am interested in as we go to episode 3. Like, is it going to open up with her on a date again?
Well, we'll see.
And see if that's like a theme that they keep pushing through this whole first few things. Is like maybe their sticking point of trying to continually prove how the Munsters are so much different than everyone else.
And for those playing along at home or watching along, we will be doing episode 3 next episode. So,
yeah, this is true.
Which also, I mean, they establish it in the intro that Herman is leaving and going somewhere. Also, he has to go out every day to scare up the rent. Yeah. So he's leaving the house every day.
Yeah.
How does he not? How does he not understand that there's something weird about him if he's actually going out in the real world? At least that's what it seems when he goes out there.
Everyone else, yeah.
Maybe he's got like a special job. Maybe it's like he's works at like a haunted house and so he's all dressed up. People just think he's in costume already.
Now let's not forget we have established that Herman is stupid. So
That's true.
Yeah,
You know
he
what? We
is.
don't
He
know.
is. Yes.
and I think it's the only way you can go through life, going out of the house and seeing the general population and realize that, or not come up with once, but like, maybe I'm the weird one. Maybe we'll find out why Marilyn lives with them.
Oh yeah, maybe there's like a tragic backstory, Yeah, her mom was like in a horrible accident, went down an alley and tried to get robbed, and things went wrong.
if there's not, I would expect that Rob Zombie covers it in his movie.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good cold open, is find out how Marilyn came to live with them.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll discuss that later on. We'll come up with theories.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we hit the reasons what broke the babysitter, the next theory has to be what exactly happened to Marilyn that she ended up here.
Why is Marilyn with the Munsters?
Mhm.
But that's for another episode. And until then,
keep on hunting.
Nope. That works too. It's always hunting season is what you guys are doing.
Shit,
But
sorry.
keep on hunting works too. Until then,
I like that.
It's always
hunting season.
The Munster Hunters are Derek Glascock, Keith Gawla, and Terry Vickroy. Keith is the host of the Pop-Up Filmcast, and that was great, wasn't it? Both shows can be found wherever you subscribe to podcasts. For more about Keith's shows, you can follow Pop-Up Filmcast on Twitter at Pop-Up Filmcast. And that was great, wasn't it? At How Great Was That? You can also follow Keith on Twitter at KG3030. Terry is one of the hosts of Run the Reel. It's a movie podcast that does deep dives on films with a theme. You can follow Run the Reel on Twitter at Run the Reel. You can also follow Terry on Twitter at Terry_Vickroy. If you would like more musings from me, you can follow on Twitter at Derek9 and the word 9. Follow Munster Hunters on Twitter at Munster Hunters and subscribe on your podcatcher of choice for more Munster Hunter fun. Munster Hunters is mixed and edited by me, Derek. All original music is composed and mixed by Terry Vickroy, and executive producers are me and Keith Gawla. The Munster Hunters is a Krispy Dodo production.